set appointments, I kind of banked on the fact that I was going to get no-showed a few times. And that was going to allow me to catch up to my next appointment so I wasn't running an hour and a half to 2 hours late. Now that we're texting, everybody's showing up. And so that plan went out the window. So I wasn't getting any no-shows, but I was rescheduling like 4 appointments a day because I would breeze right through them. So, I mean, it was a good problem because I was writing applications. So I thought there's not a whole lot wrong with this. But Nick was talking about streamlining and trimming the fat and just really getting directly to the point. And I was texting him last night. He's like, that's what people want. They want you just to get right to the point. Don't dance around the subject. Don't talk for, 15 minutes about the benefits of living benefits and everything. Just get to the point. So what I did was I simplified my rapport a little bit more. I still ask a few questions, connect a little bit, but I'm not taking as long as I used to. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe, okay? I want them to know I'm a real person. I want them to know that I care about them and that they're a real person, and then we move on. We transition to business. And then you just get right into the needs analysis and go through that pretty quickly. You don't need to spend a ton of time, figure out I like to figure out their income. I know Nick doesn't, but it helps me with my pain in the end, knowing how much income, the spouse is going to lose if they were to lose that, spouse. So I still find the income, and then, I go through their medications real quick, figure out what they qualify for, and then we hit the numbers. Okay. You can tee it up like Nick says, but you're doing that throughout the whole process. It's an art. It's kind of a dance. Everything that he does is really purposeful.
Yep.
Everything he says is planting these psychological seeds in their mind of what they're going to need. And so he's feeling the pain as he goes. Okay. So he doesn't need to spend 15, 20 minutes at the end creating this artificial pain that to get people to buy a policy. It's kind of throughout the process. Right. And I know that sounds kind of vague, and Nick spent all day yesterday focusing on it, but you can ask better questions throughout the needs analysis, and these people's wheels are turning. Okay, if I lose so and so, then we're losing out on $6,000. Okay, I have all this equity. I want to make sure I protect that. Okay, if I'm out of work due to a disability, my income is going to go away and my medical bills are going to rack up. So that's going to look like a nightmare. Okay. So, they're already having these wheels turn. So the pain is built in. And that was something that, I would spend a lot of time at the end manufacturing this pain. Because I wanted to make sure, no pain, no sale. I wanted to make sure I had enough pain. But some people, people would literally tell me okay, I get it. You can stop. People would tell me that. I'd be like, okay, let's go on to the numbers. So it was nice to just simplify it, build it into the needs analysis, not spend so much time on rapport, not spend so much time on pain, and just really get down to the point, because that's what people want. Sweet, simple, to the point, just get it done. So yeah, yesterday I had 7 appointments and I sat on all of them. I've literally never had that happen where I didn't have a no-show or a reschedule. I sat on all 7. It blew my mind. Constant, I love this call because I learn something every day. I learned from Nick, I learned from Connor, I learned from Marcia, Nicole, everything. I learned from everybody. So even I'm constantly changing little bits. Don't change a lot, but tweak it a little bit. See if it works. If it works, yep, roll with it. If it doesn't work, don't do it anymore. So I was really thankful for that yesterday, Nick.
Yeah, it's keeping it simple. What we'll do tomorrow is, I think we're going to have Christian's going to be on, Carlos will be on. We'll bring Noelle back tomorrow and we'll have her go through that in more detail. That conversation, where does she cut down on the rapport building? What are the things she focuses on during the needs analysis that is starting to create that pain? They're think about that mortgage payment. Let's say with taxes and all that stuff, it's $2,500 a month. And when Nick says, okay, so that's $30,000 a year. They've not thought about that. They just think it's $2,500 a month. And then they go, crap, it is $30,000 a year. That's a big number. So man, I don't know. I'm not going to be able to handle that on my own. But that's planting the seed, right? They weren't thinking about it on an annual basis, but Nick just planted it. So that's about 30,000 a year, and they're going, wow, yeah, I haven't thought about it that way. Yeah, I guess it is. See, that's planting a seed. That's creating pain. So we'll talk about that more and go through how you streamline that process. And so as you did that, did you make that adjustment early in the day yesterday, and you had more people you were able to sit with yesterday? What did that look like? And ultimately, what did your day look like?
Yeah, I was just kind of from the beginning, Nick said to do it. I say, if Nick told me to jump off a cliff, I would, because he's that good at this business. So I was like, okay, I'm going to streamline it. So from the very beginning, I did that. So I had 7 appointments. I sat on all of them. I did not close. I closed 6 out of the 7. I was like, I've never done that before either. Okay, guys, don't like, I have days where I blink out, where I sit on everything and I close nothing. We all have those days. Nick has them, Connor has them, all of us have them. So yesterday was just one of those like unicorn days where everything's stuck. Okay, you're going to have a unicorn day too. Trust me. But I closed 6 out of the 7. I wrote 7 applications, and it was just over 10,000. It was my best day I've ever had. It blew me away.
How about that, Connor Jones? 10,000 for the day, buddy. Woo! Hey, listen, but here's what that does. You're going to have those days that are going to be rough days, right? Nick was talking about what he had last week. He goes, I ended up getting the last one at the very end of the night. Had 9 that I went through, 9 sets in 9 that I did not pick up an app on was that last one. You're going to have those days, but yesterday for you, those are the days that make up for those days. It all plays into the averages, but you got to stack the numbers in your favor. So let me ask you this. So we've learned that you set your appointments up, you book them every 30 minutes, then a 30-minute gap. Every 30 minutes and 30-minute gap. Did you keep that the same because your show rate's higher?
Yeah. Yesterday I didn't have quite as many appointments. Usually I like to have 8 to 9. So I only had 7. So I had a couple more gaps than usual, but I was screenshotting pictures of my appointments or my phone calls to Nick last night. And I was like, woo, 27 minutes. Look at that, Nick. 37 minutes, 31 minutes. Like, even if I had kept my same schedule, I would have stayed on time. Maybe like 5 to 10 minutes late. But like, I've never had a call under 30 minutes before with virtual where I actually took an app. If it was a no close, sure. But, where I was actually taking apps and stuff, I've never done that in 30 minutes. So it was awesome just to be able to like plug through this. Now I see like how successful Nick is. He's just got it dialed in.
Yeah, so what we're going to talk about tomorrow with Noelle is, again, she's going through the needs analysis. She's very intentional on hitting those things that create pain. If there's pain there, those are going to reveal it. Again, it's my mortgage payment is this much, $30,000 a year. It's here's how much equity they have in the home. It's the loss of income. It's all those things. She's just going pow, 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 right? She's just pushing the button. It's like those pain points, you hit those, like these doctors, hey, does that hurt? Yeah, they know it's a pressure point, right? Here's another pressure point. She's touching those pressure points, and she's very intentional on touching the pressure points. But here's what Noelle's also doing. She's being the CEO of her business. She's taking control of her business, and she's being a student, right? She's getting on here. Yesterday, she's taking notes going, okay, I'm taking note of what Nick's doing there because I need to streamline my process so I can cut out some of the fat, as she mentioned, right? So it's being very intentional on doing that and showing up every day. Because like Noelle said, yeah, I think there's some people that just chatted, hey, I missed yesterday. Hey, you may have something going on, doc's appointment or something like that, but whatever it is, it's do whatever you have to do to block out this time, because if Noelle wouldn't have been here yesterday, she would have still been doing the same thing. And Noelle is an elite producer, right? So, I mean, Noelle, listen, Noelle's one, you watch her see it on her podcast, making $30,000, depositing $30,000 a month. But Noelle is still learning. She's still willing to learn. She's still willing to get better because she knows she can. That's really good. Noelle, great stuff. Connor, let's talk about that as well, because you're the same way. I mean, you found out early on that you started to streamline the process when we were doing virtual. And because it was before, we were trying to keep the people on there and build all sorts of rapport because we thought you had to build a whole lot more rapport because it was virtual. So we're talking about the blizzards at Dairy Queen and all sorts of stuff to keep them on there, right? Just to make a connection. So talk about that as well, kind of how you go through that same process and make sure that you're not getting too chatty during that needs analysis point.
I'm a pretty chatty guy, man, but it's definitely hard to stop being so chatty. But I normally build a rapport. I mean, during the when you're getting them on video on the phone, that's how I've always done it. And because the hard part is, though, too, is it's hard to continue going through it if they don't. I always try to make them laugh a little bit, like even a little giggle, just something to where they feel like they're paying attention. But no, I've never been huge. I mean, I think rapport is important, but I've always taken a really different approach. And I've said it before, like I'm more of a logical person on appointments, just because that's when I started in the business, it was hard to connect with anybody. So I had to learn a way to connect on a different side. But no, what Noelle and Nick are talking about, though, is gold. Rumbo, you know how I am. All I do is I do the same thing every single day. I book the right amount. I mean, I booked 6 to 8 appointments. And when I go through my rapport, it's just, again, real simple. I don't, and this isn't offense to anybody because I love it, especially when you're new, learning to build rapport. I've never gone through a core or anything like that. I just talk to them. Normally, honestly, it's about stuff going on in my life. Like I ask them how long they've been married because I'm a newlywed, and talk about kids because I have a kid on the way, right? And just keep it really simple. But I agree. I mean, clients don't want to chit chat for an hour. And the problem is, again, you'll know when it's forced and when it's comfortable. Because the one thing I will say, if a client will let you build a little deeper rapport, don't go on a tangent, still keep it, I mean, short, but allow that to happen though, because you get a deeper connection. Like I laugh, like I had a client the other day, like Dan was talking about looking in their background. They had a couple of, they had a Texas flag and they're in Indiana. They had a Texas flag and some boots and stuff. And we started talking about Yellowstone, the TV show for 15 minutes. And then when I went through the sale, I mean, they would have said yes to anything. They just really liked me. But yeah. No, it's important not to overdo it. Like even Pop, if you guys watch the Rob Jens in-home back in the day, he always told me he never built rapport until he was writing the application. Just because he said with what we do with the lead system, you really don't need a lot of rapport building because they're already asking for something, right? But no, I just go through the basics, and then I do a lot of rapport building while I'm asking the questions like, oh, you work full time? Oh, what do you do for work? Stuff like that. Or how long have you been at the job? Or when did you retire? Okay, any health issues at all? Right? And then there's no reason why. I mean, Nick, would you agree? I mean, there's no reason getting to you don't want to be in a rush to get to the numbers, but it should be 15 minutes and you're deciding 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, that's what I say.
And like Connor's such a natural. He says, I don't have to use core. The only reason we even talk about core is for somebody that doesn't naturally talk with people, right? So it's got to remind them. It's got to remind them to build a little rapport. But since we've been through this process with virtual, we're learning more. You don't have to be their buddy, right? You don't have to do all the rapport building like we thought you had to do early on, especially now that the text messaging has taken place, right? So what I love about what we're doing from a system standpoint, it's not based on the talent. You don't have to be as talented as these two down here to win at a high level in this business. You just got to go to work and be coachable. Do the same thing every single time. And Nick Saban says, we don't do it until we get it right. We do it until we can't do it wrong, right? You do the same presentation over and over and over again, and it's going to evolve. Right? Noelle said she evolved yesterday, right? That's the thing I love about this call. Everybody's trying to get better. Nobody thinks that their way is the best way, but as a whole, we can have a fundamental presentation. Use your different personality in that fundamental presentation. Do it the same way every time, and you'll win. You'll be successful.
Nick hit it on the head, though, Scott. The most important thing for everybody watching this, do not turn into Nick Burns. Follow Nick Burns' process, but do not turn into, like, you need to be yourself. Because the problem is, too, like, and you guys know this, I mean, core is so important, but it's the concept, right? It's not you get them on the phone and then you go, okay, C-O-R-E. They're going to be like, okay, this guy's just trying to butter me up, right? And it takes time. I mean, I guarantee for everyone to hear this, like, I guarantee you Nick and Noelle were way better than I was when I started. I was terrible. Rumbo, did you know I didn't even know how to check my pending on the websites for 6 months? I mean, I was bad at this business. It was rough, but it was just consistency. I mean, that's why we always talk about, I mean, these conference calls never existed when we got started. Don't turn into these people, learn their processes, and learn to be yourself. I mean, when you're more genuine, they know you're being genuine. So learn to focus on still being you. That's such an important piece.
That is, you remind me of someone that we had a young guy was on, still on with us now. And so he said, I'm going to be just like Connor. And so I'm like, that's great, man. Like, follow what he does. But he was literal. Like, I'm going to be just like Connor. Well, he said, man, I don't know why all of a sudden I'm not writing apps. And I said, well, record yourself and send it to me. He sent it to me. And the first thing I hear him say is, what kind of dog is that? Because Connor said that before. And I was like, what in the world? And I keep listening to it. He's going, y'all. And I'm like, who is this person? So I called him up and I go, hey, man, I said, I think I'm sure this is you, but it doesn't sound anything like you. He goes, but it sounds like Connor, doesn't it? And I go, don't be like Connor like that. Like, don't take Connor's accent on. Don't try to talk like Connor if that's not you. Like, just be yourself. Like, go through the process like Connor's going through. But I said, that's why, because you know why? It sounds weird. It didn't sound weird coming out of Connor because that's natural. So just be, to your point, be yourself and just duplicate, just try to mirror what they're doing in terms of the process and how they're building rapport, how they're going through the needs analysis, how they're going through the options, presenting not what it is, but what it does for them. Just that's what we're talking about. We're saying, hey, just mirror these guys, but don't become them, to Connor's point, because then all of a sudden you'll be like, I don't know what's wrong.
And it's a battle. I mean, Nick, I don't know if you've ever felt like this. There's been days where I'm like, man, I'm like robotic. Like I feel like I'm trying to be real peppy, right? And I'm trying to be sales. Like I feel like I'm not me, right? Like I feel like, man, if I called a buddy right now, I would sound completely different. Yeah. And then I remind myself, I'm like, okay, I need to fix this. And then I just talk like myself, and then it goes back to normal. So that's something too. Like if you feel off talking to people, call your mom or call a buddy. And the way you talk to them is the way you need to talk to clients. I mean, now, like when you call a buddy, I mean, don't start cussing and acting crazy, but you understand the point. Like your tonality, the way you talk, right? Your body. I mean, don't change that. Okay? It's not being professional. It's annoying. It's not genuine.
Hey, Connor, answer this question. So this person says, this is a good one. It's when you first call them to get them on the phone for the appointment, what do you say? Because it's like, I haven't talked to these people yet. I've only texted them. What do you say when you first pick up the phone when it's a cold intro after just a text appointment, setting a text appointment?
Hey, Rumbo, how are you?
Yeah, man, how about you? That's it, really.
Yeah, it depends on their age. I mean, if they're in their 20s, they'll be like, hey, what's going on, man? How are you? I'm Connor. Or just, again, that's how I act. So, hey, what's going on? How are you? If that's
just
not,
be yourself.
If that's not how you talk, don't do it that way. I mean, if you don't say, hey, what's going on? Don't say that on the appointment. If you're a more formal person by nature, then just be yourself. But yeah, it's just, hey, how you doing? It's good to talk to you, Scott. Are you and your wife, you guys still available for me? Okay, great. Well, real quick, just to verify, again, I had Scott Rumbo and Kimberly Rumbo. You're over on the 123 Apple Street over in Weatherford. Let's see, I had your loan as $112,000. Your date of birth was this. Your wife's date of birth is this. Was that all correct? Okay, great. Yep. Oh, by the way, how long you guys been in Weatherford? You can take that from me. That's the first question I always ask. I always verify everything just to make myself sound professional. And then I go, oh, how long you been in the area? Great icebreaker. And then, I mean, Nick knows this too. Then you need to get them on video. You got to start that process quick, because if you stall on that, that's what makes an appointment, I mean, way too long. I mean, after I go through that and talk for a second, hey, Nick, for compliance reasons, I got to send over a copy of my state credentials to you, copy of my license. What's a good email? Okay, perfect. Send it over, build rapport. Okay, click on this, right? And then get them on, and then I just start over again. Hey, Scott, good finally see you. But that's it. It's nothing.
Yeah, just be yourself. You don't. I think so many people think, well, I'm a licensed professional, so I need to be Mr. Insurance Man. Like, don't get on there and go, hello, Mr. Jones. My name's Scott Rumbo. could I please get your email address to send you some of my credentials? Don't like get weird all of a sudden and think I've got to be just Mr. Professional. What does that look like for you? They're doing business with you because they don't want to do business with that guy down there at the store, at the shop that's by the donut place, right? Because you go in there and the guy's got a suit on, you walk in, all of a sudden he feels like, okay, this guy thinks he's better than me and he's talking to me like that, right? I'm Mr. Insurance Man. Like, just be yourself. Because people want to do business with people they like, right? And they can relate to.
One thing, Rambo, that's helped me with that is when I call them, because Noelle, I don't know about you and Connor, but when on the text message, even when we send the confirmation text, a lot of times they're not sending the email back. Okay, so I don't have the email. So when I call them, hey Scott, it's Nick. How are you? How was work today? Awesome. Look, before we get going, I'm going to send you an email real quick. I just want you and Kimberly to see who I am before we start talking about everything. Well, you got a good email address you got access to? That way I can go ahead, and it shortens my process down. I can go ahead and get them on video. And while I'm getting them on video, then I'm doing what Connor's talking about. You guys from Gurley, just make that conversation piece along the way. But I'm wanting to get them on video as soon as possible because the rapport building is better, over the video versus it is over the phone.
Yep. Hey, so this person's asking, we won't do any live dials. Our primary way to contact someone to set the appointment is text. It's just text. It's more efficient and our show rate's higher. The quality of appointment's higher, just like Noelle was talking about. So we don't do any live dials. But you may plug into a team if you want to hear some live dials. There may be some of the teams out there doing some live dials, but we don't do any more because our primary is texting people to set appointments. Much better show rate, much better. Matter of fact, it's 20 to 25% better than it was dialing, even still today for the pros. Okay, one more question, then we're going to get to Barry and Rob, and we're going to give away some goodies. Let's see. Noelle, how about for a brand new person, they're trying to figure out what product they would qualify for? What would you recommend that person? Are you having your agents use the toolkit?
Yeah, for sure. Use the insurance toolkit. That thing is incredible. We've never had that. I feel so much like back in my day, like an old granny when I talk about stuff. I haven't even been in the business that long. But you guys, we didn't have any of this stuff. Like, we had nothing for like 3 months. Like, we had no website. Like, it was down. But yeah, the insurance toolkit is incredible. Type in all their medications. It'll pull up the list of their like ailments. So if you type in like a medication, it'll pull up a bunch of options for you. You can push the dot. It's for blood pressure. They have a current prescription, submit, and it'll pull up all the companies that they have available to them. I know Nick and Connor, there's other agents and managers that'll coach you differently, but like Foresters is our go-to. If they qualify for Foresters, write them Foresters. If they don't qualify for Foresters, look at some other different options. Okay, but that insurance toolkit is phenomenal. Every once in a while, you're going to get this crazy, wild medical case that you've never heard of before. Text your manager. But don't bug them until you've gone through the insurance toolkit first and you come up blank. You don't know what the heck to do. But I guarantee you 90% of your sits, you're going to be able to figure that out yourself with the insurance toolkit. You'll be able to type in all the client's information, all their medications, and then it's even going to run the quotes for you. Okay. So it's going to pull up the quotes for you. So you already know how much it costs. And then there's even a link to the e-apps in there. So you can click on the link and it'll take you directly to the website for you to log in and write the e-app. So I guarantee you the vast majority of your business, you're going to be able to figure out on your own with that toolkit. And when you get those tricky, wild, crazy cases, text a manager who's a lot more experienced and get help on those. But don't bog them down with a cholesterol and a blood pressure medication. You know what to do. Foresters will take that. So, use the insurance toolkit. It's incredible.
Thank you, coaches. Hey, insurance toolkit. You'll see it on the dashboard when you log into michaelsfinancial.com. However, go to the 8 steps on the virtual training platform. because Pete Beckman's going to show you how to actually use it. So he'll show you actually how to use the tool.